They laughed at Emily James and her junkyard jet. Then the commander said 2 words no one expected: Ghosthawk. What happened next bent the sky, broke the rules, and put a price on her name: stay. They laughed before she even reached the tarmac. Emily kept walking. Chin level. Boots steady. The air smelled of fuel and dust. Her watch was cracked where the glass had spidered. It didn't tick. It never did. Not since the day the ocean took her father's plane. She touched it anyway. A habit. A prayer without words. The other pilots leaned on clean wings. Their birds were glossy and loud. Hers sat alone by the chain-link fence, matte black, dull where the paint had been sandblasted by wind. The kind of thing you find in a museum brochure, not under an open sky. Someone give James a tow rope, a lieutenant called. Pull that antique to the recycler. Laughter carried across the runway like gravel under tires. She didn't look at them. She didn't need to. In her pocket was an empty wallet that folded with a soft sigh. Inside, a single photo. A dusty road running out from the county field where she'd learned to drive. Learned to brake. Learned to turn toward the wind when the storms came in crooked. The road had no paint lines. It only knew direction. Her crew chief met her by the nose cone. Pre-flight is green, he said. His voice was simple, solid. If you need anything, say it plain. Emily nodded. She ran her palm along the skin of the jet. It felt warmer than it should in the morning chill. She checked undercarriage, ports, control surfaces. Everything fit. Everything whispered. She climbed the ladder. The cockpit smelled like cold metal and fresh rain, though there was no rain in this sky. The screens were old but not, familiar but not. Letters drifted in the periphery of her helmet visor, then faded. She swallowed. Her throat tasted of penny and fear. She tried the watch again. Still silent, Captain James, the comm crackled. Hold for command. She steadied her breathing. Outside, the laughter thinned. You can only laugh so long when you're waiting to see if the thing you joked about will actually move, actually lift, actually prove you wrong. A shadow fell across her canopy. Commander Hale stopped at the nose, took off his cap, and looked up at her like they were in church. Eyes on me, everyone, Hale called. You too, James. She met his gaze through the glass. He took a breath. This aircraft has carried a cover long enough. Those who know, know. Those who don't, listen now. He let the silence stretch until it hummed. You've called it scrap. You've called it a mistake. You've called it a joke. He put the cap back on. You were wrong. The pilots shifted. The wind moved the flag in slow angles. Somewhere a door slammed. Somewhere a warning beeped and then stopped. Hale's voice went softer, more dangerous. We call it the Ghosthawk. The word didn't echo. It sank. It found bones. Emily's fingers tightened on the throttle. Her broken watch flashed once in the sun as if to say, I'm not done. Captain, Hale said into the comm, show them what silence can do. She eased the power forward. The engine didn't roar. It breathed. The air moved around her like a hand sliding a ring onto a finger. The jet rolled, light as a sentence that hasn't found its period. Down the runway. Lights stuttering like tiny lighthouses. The wheels tasted speed. The nose lifted. She thought of the dusty road back home. The way it yawned toward the horizon and never finished. She thought of the wallet with nothing in it and how emptiness can still be weight. Rotation. And then the tower shouted a vector she didn't expect. A new voice cut through the channel. The commander's voice, clipped and steady. Emily, don't climb. Not yet, they're watching. They're not the only ones. Watching who? She leveled, heart hammering an unprinted pattern. Hold at 200 feet, Hale ordered. And brace. For what? She asked. The sky answered before he did. A shape slid out of the glare ahead, low and dark and wrong. And the Ghosthawk's canopy dimmed itself like an eye squinting into a storm, and the horizon split. It came in like a rumor with teeth. No signature on the scope. No hello, no flag. The shape held the same color as her jet. The same hunger for attention it refused to ask for. It floated above the tarmac edge like a coin that chose not to fall. Her hands found the yoke and then let go. The Ghosthawk took the hint. A soft vibration touched the gloves. The HUD sketched lines that weren't coplanar with anything she'd learned in manuals written by men who liked straight arrows and stamped seals. 2 contacts, the tower said. Negative radar return. Confirm visual. Visual, Emily said. One that's mine, one that isn't. Copy, Hale said. Keep it near the deck. Let the ground cameras feed. Let them see, she thought. Let them film so their laughs have a past tense. The other pilots were dots by the hangars now, faces tilted up, the drone of someone's phone trying to focus. She could picture them squinting, trying to decide if they believed in magic after all. "Emily," Hale said. "You feel anything odd?" She did. The jet felt like skin, like it had nerves, like it had found her heartbeat and was trying to match it. And somewhere under that she felt her watch. The broken thing pulsed cold against her wrist, not ticking, not counting. More like remembering. She banked a fraction. The Ghosthawk didn't bank. It drifted sideways instead, as if the air were a shallow river and it had just discovered how to wade. The shape ahead mimicked the move, then paused. A hesitation. "Attell, who are you?" she whispered. Not into the mic. Into the air, no answer. Only the small, patient noise of a machine not using fuel the way machines are supposed to. "Captain," Hale said. "You're clear for demonstration phase 1. She thought of the empty wallet and the way it folds flat around nothing. She thought of the dusty road and how it always gave her enough room to turn. "Copy," she said. Phase 1, she eased power. The world stretched like elastic. The base fell behind and below even though her altimeter kissed the same numbers. The HUD changed languages. Her eyes watched what her hands sensed. "Altitude," the tower called, panicked. "I'm on the deck," she said, calm surprising even herself. She was riding contour like a hawk rides heat, seeing not just where the earth was but where it wanted to be. The black shape paced her. It slid closer and for a breath they were wingtip to wingtip. She saw no pilot. She saw herself. A ghosted reflection. Hair tucked under helmet. Watch shard flashing. Her father used to say, "Trust the airplane, but verify the sky." She verified the sky by twitching 2 fingers. The Ghosthawk understood. It rose without rising, went left without turning, cut a circle that wasn't a circle. The other shape flinched. "There," she said. "You don't like that." A click on the comm. "Not the base. Something else." A voice almost human. "Confirm identity." "Excuse me?" Emily said. "Confirm identity," the voice repeated, genderless, too even. "Pattern key." Hale's voice stacked on top. "Do not respond," her jaw set. The watch against her pulse. The photo in her wallet bending against the curve of her hip. The dusty road ran through her. "You don't get to name me," she told the sky. She cut thrust. Air filled the silence. The Ghosthawk floated. The shape overshot, surprised by the absence of a rule it assumed would be obeyed. She caught its blind spot and rode it like she was riding a memory. Up now. Clean as a blade sliding into sleeves of wind. The base erupted in shouts she ignored. She kept the stranger pinned where it couldn't decide if she was in front or behind. "Emily," Hale said. "Enough." "Copy," she said. She rolled inverted. Let the Ghosthawk skim the world with its spine, then leveled. The other shape stuttered on the edge of some equation that didn't like to be seen. "Phase 2 is live," Hale said. Even his calm had an edge now. "Be ready. There will be a moment." "What kind of moment?" she asked. "The kind that makes promises expensive." Her empty wallet felt heavier. "On your mark," she said. "1," he said. 2, 3, the HUD dimmed. The canopy and Hale exhaled. The skin of the jet shivered, and the world went quiet. Not quiet like pause, quiet like every measuring stick had been taken away at once. Like gravity held its breath because it finally wanted to hear what came next. The other shape flickered, and the Ghosthawk disappeared. No horizon. No altitude. No sense of forward, but not lost. A thin silver line ran across her visor like a lake at night. She understood without understanding. That was the map now. The map of where the air itself wanted to go if it were free to choose. Her watch was a stone. Heavy. Cold. Waiting. "Emily." Hale's voice thinned, then thickened. "Status. Here," she said. "But not there." She pressed her palm flat against the console. The Ghosthawk hummed back. It was a 2-way prayer. "If they can't see you, they can't lock," Hale said. "But if you can't see them, I can," she said. And she could. Not with eyes. With the same part of her that remembered the dusty road without needing the photograph. A darker shadow slipped inside the silver line like a fish under ice. She moved. The jet didn't push. It translated. The stranger tried to follow and found the floor had turned to ceiling. Twice. "Emily," Hale said, careful. "You're at decision. Either we show them how deep this goes or we teach them to go home." "What's the cost?" she asked. He didn't pretend not to hear the real question. You won't fly the same again. She thought of her father's laugh, full and rough, when the old trainer he steered did something impossible simply because he asked it like a friend. She thought of the empty wallet and all the trains she didn't take, the classes skipped, the jobs turned down just to get more hours in an airplane that answered yes. Understood, she said. In that bent quiet, the Ghosthawk tilted a thought, and she saw the other shape's skeleton. Not metal, not muscle. A framework made of a promise someone had broken to get there. She could taste the bitterness of it. Go home, she told it, though she knew it had no home to go to that she would recognize. It flickered hard. The silver line across her visor snapped to a jagged shape, warning her that choices have corners. Tower, someone said on open comm, breathless. Unknown approaching perimeter, fast. Not the black shape. Something else. Multiple. Their noise battered the quiet like rain on tin. Emily, Hale said. We've got company. Real company, conventional, nervous fingers. He meant missiles. He meant pilots who'd never seen silence fly. Bring me back, she said. Hold, he answered, and she heard the new shape of his fear. Not of her. For her. The Ghosthawk flexed the quiet. The world came back in pixels, then squares, then air. The runway unfolded like a ribbon from a package she hadn't thought was hers. Sound returned in layers, tower, wind, shouts, alarms. She was low. She was fast. She was exactly where she'd been and somehow entirely elsewhere. The black shape was gone. Lock acquired, someone said. Wrong channel. Not theirs. The tone that followed was old and honest. A tone you can't argue with. Missile, Hale snapped. Break, she did. The Ghosthawk didn't throw her. It stepped sideways and the missile rushed into the space where she had been. It clawed at heat that wasn't there, grabbed at metal the jet refused to admit, then gave up in a white bloom against nothing. Gasps on the ground. Silence in her throat followed by a surge of anger that didn't fit in a sentence. Who fired? She asked. External unit, Hale said. Uninformed. They saw absence and panicked. She swallowed the taste of cordite she wasn't actually breathing. Her watch pulsed again. One long, one short. A code she almost knew. She climbed, careful now. Slow as a nod. The new contacts on the scope held position. Doubt is heavier than steel. She felt it dragging them down. Eyes on your six, Hale said, softer. We're sending a car to your quarters. Pack a bag. Why? She said. Because this doesn't live here anymore, he said. And neither do you. She thought of the empty wallet resting on a dresser with a burn mark at the edge from the time a candle fell, and she caught it with her hand. She thought of the photo pressed inside, the dusty road double exposed by time. Copy, she said. The word a small shelter. Full stop, Hale said. Then straight to Hangar 9. Hangar 9 was a rumor she never used. Understood. She flared, kissed the runway without sound, rolled to a shivering stillness. The ladder came. The chief didn't look at her like she was a ghost. He looked at her like she was carrying something he would help carry if she asked. She didn't ask. She climbed down. The air smelled like it had just learned a secret, and then the sirens started. Not flight line. Not fire. The sirens that mean somebody opened a door only certain hands can open, and didn't close it. The door to Hangar 9 was a rectangle of dark cut into brighter dark. It swallowed light. It didn't give any back. 2 MPs met her with clipped shoes and open eyes. They checked nothing. Her face was the checklist. Hale arrived breathless and didn't pretend otherwise. I wanted 30 more days, he said. We got 30 minutes. Come on. Inside, the hangar smelled like graphite and secrecy. Racks of gear lined the walls in shapes that wanted to be classified verbs. Engineers with badges the color of midnight moved from console to console, with the choreography of people who had rehearsed for a show they hoped would never open. At the center sat another Ghosthawk. Not black. Not any color she had a name for. Its skin seemed to choose different shadows depending on who looked at it. Series Beta, Hale said. She's temperamental. And she likes you. How can you tell? He pointed with his chin. Her broken watch was glowing. Not bright. Dim like a memory that refuses to fade. The second hand, which hadn't moved in years, gave a single judder. It stopped at 12 like the world at the top of a breath. Your father's, Hale said, not asking. She nodded. He was on the first list, Hale said. The one with too many names and not enough questions. Emily stared at the plane. He never told me. He wasn't allowed, Hale said. He told me instead that you'd find your way here, that when your road turned to sky, you'd keep going. She looked down. The empty wallet in her pocket felt like a truth you can fold. Why the attack? She asked. Why fire on me? Hale's mouth tightened. We've been seen. When silence flies, everybody with a microphone starts yelling. And there's more. The shape you met? Not ours. I know, she said. It tasted wrong. He didn't ask her what that meant. He didn't have to. The hangar lights dimmed. The beta hummed. A screen bloomed with a map stitched in pale veins. Hot spots flared, some foreign, some painfully domestic. We're not first, Hale said. We're simply louder. And the door that opened? Emily asked. His jaw worked. Internal breach. Someone with clearances they earned the long way. They took a module that shouldn't exist. Call sign? Sable. Her father used to call any shadow on a runway Sable when he was being poetic in a voice that didn't know how. What do they want? What we all want, Hale said. To set the price. The beta's canopy opened like a yawn it had been holding in. Get in, Hale said. We're going to chase a thought across a continent. Emily didn't move. Not yet. She took the wallet from her pocket and opened it. The photo had creased at the corner where the road meets the sky. She slid it into the gap beneath the console where gum wrappers usually go. She set the wallet on top. Empty but not useless. Then she tapped her watch crystal once. It didn't fix anything. That wasn't the point. She climbed the ladder. The beta fit her better than clothing. The harness hugged. The helmet warmed. The silence stepped closer, the way a dog does when it decides which human belongs to it. Emily, Hale said in her ear. His voice sounded nearer than it should. We've got a window. We don't get two. Understood. The hangar door rolled up. The night outside wasn't sky. It was a lid lifting off a box. Tower says clear, an engineer called. Tower isn't invited, Hale said, then softer. I'm sorry. For what? For saying goodbye without time to mean it. She didn't answer. There is an economy to hope. You spend it or you hoard it. Tonight she spent. She rolled the beta out to the blacktop. The lights along the runway were off. Someone had decided darkness was better company. Ghosthawk beta, Hale said. Launch on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Heat moved but didn't burn. The hangar backwash lifted papers that didn't exist. She lifted. Gravity shrugged and let her go. The map that wasn't a map bled into her visor. A thread pointed west into mountains that had names before anyone flew over them. The thread pulsed like a vein under a wrist. Hale, she said. Here. If Sable took what you say they took, they won't run, she said. They'll wait. They always do. Then I won't make them. She pushed. The beta slid into a night that answered back. Not with stars, but with scattered lights shaped like questions. And somewhere behind, in a base that felt smaller by the minute, a fire rolled out from the far hangars and painted the underbellies of clouds orange, and Hangar 9's alarms went black. They hit the ridgeline like a whisper crossing a table. The beta didn't climb. It altered the slope until the mountain agreed. Pine tips slipped beneath her like a flock of green arrows loosed in the wrong century. Rivers drew silver scars no map had the nerve to mark. Sable ping, Hale said. 200 miles, stationary. Of course, Emily said. Her watch gave 2 short pulses. The second hand didn't move. The pulses weren't time. They were doorbells. She toggled a mode that didn't have a label. The HUD flooded with glyphs that felt like they'd been designed by a tide. She let go of control. The beta took position in a circle she hadn't drawn. There, she said. Valley floor. Old strip. The kind where dust decides who owns the land. She skimmed down. Headlights at the edge of the strip turned once and went out. A figure stood by a small building whose paint had been pulled off by seasons and mistakes. A plane without a tail number slept under a tarp that didn't try very hard. She sat down without settling. The beta hovered an inch off the ground and pretended to rest. The figure didn't run. They raised a hand. The kind of wave you give someone who forgot your name on purpose. Sable, she said on wide band. Silence. She opened her canopy. The night stepped up on its toes. Cold air smelt of sage and engine oil. The dust held still as if waiting for a verdict. A voice reached her from the dark. Not Hale, not the tower. Your father would have hated this part. Every muscle in her back went iron. Walk to the line, the voice said. Slow, she unstrapped. She climbed down. The ground under her boots was the dusty road from the photograph, grown older, grown mean. The figure stepped into the range of the beta's faint light, a woman, gray hair cut blunt. A jacket with no insignia and a face with too much. Name, Emily said. You won't like it, the woman said. Try me. Yara James. The wind put a hand on Emily's shoulder as if to push her off balance. My father's sister, Emily said. She didn't ask. The mouth, the eyes. The scar that turned when she said the letter R. All of it was family, Yara nodded. He asked me to stay away. I disobeyed in the most efficient manner. You took a module, Emily said. Yara tilted her head toward the small building. I moved a promise to where it can't be priced by a room of men who think stairs should go only up. Emily felt a laugh cut her from inside and refused it. You lit my base on fire. No, Yara said. Your base lit itself. That's what bases do when they decide if they belong to a country or to a century. Return the module. Ask better. Emily looked down at her empty hands. One of them belonged on a throttle. The other belonged on a photograph. What is it? She asked instead. The piece that makes silence stop being a weapon and start being a bridge, Yara said, as if giving weather to a farmer. The part the others didn't figure out because they're too fond of owning the wind. And you? Emily asked. I'm fond of not dying in lines at borders built by maps with bad handwriting. Hale's voice came thin. Emily, we've got inbound, multiple no friendlies flagged. Yara stepped closer. The beta's skin hummed like it recognized a gene. They're not here for a duel. They're here for a door. Emily tasted metal. She put one hand on the beta and one on the broken watch. If I take you to Hangar 9, they'll arrest you. I know, Yara said. And if I stay, they'll level this strip and call it a lesson. Headlights flared at the far end of the road. Not one pair, many. Dust rose like a choir with bad intentions. Choose, Yara said. Not cruel. True. Emily closed her eyes. She saw the dusty road uncurling like a tongue telling the future. She saw the empty wallet folded over nothing but a note she'd written the day she enlisted. Don't wait for permission to do the right thing. She saw the broken watch and the moment in the kitchen when her father had taken it off, set it on the counter and said, We count different out there. She opened her eyes. Get in, she said. Yara didn't argue. She climbed the ladder like someone who once made ladders for a living. Emily, Hale warned. If she boards that jet, we don't get to pretend this is a training story. Understood, Emily said and meant it. She sealed the canopy. The beta's quiet closed around them like a verdict. The headlights pinned the beta in a cage of moving white. Men with rifles climbed out. They were not amateurs. They had learned to move like wolves in someone else's moonlight. Bridge then, Emily said. She lifted an inch. Dust bloomed. The rifles came up. The first muzzle flash wrote an ugly star above the hood of a truck, and a shape peeled itself off the night beyond the far fence. Not a truck, not a bird, a jet without edges. It tilted its face toward them and the air developed a new weight. Emily, Yara said, calm as gravel. You're about to learn what the rest of the alphabet feels like. The rival Ghosthawk locked onto them, and every screen went dark. No light. No HUD, no comfort, but the quiet stayed. Emily heard Yara breathe, slow, intentional, like someone walking across ice they trust. Hands off, Yara said softly. Let it decide. That's the module. You stole autonomy, Emily said. I borrowed freedom, Yara said. Bullets stitched the dark, asking rude questions. The beta answered with absence. It moved without permission. It taught Emily something pure and frightening about trust. Put me through to Hale, Yara said. Emily toggled a switch that shouldn't have worked, but did. Hale's voice arrived riding a wire under a river. Say it fast. Stand down your intercept, Yara said. Tell them to put their hands where their honesty is. Who is this? Hale demanded. Family, Yara said, the kind that refuses to draw circles that small. A breath. Hale had the kind of brain that didn't waste time being insulted. You're Sable. I'm the bill your program forgot to pay, Yara said. And the receipt. Emily smiled despite the guns at the end of the road. She remembered her father at the stove, flipping eggs without a spatula, saying, You can learn a lot about gravity by lying to it politely. Light came back in a shade the human eye doesn't have a word for. The HUD redrew itself in new grammar. The rival Ghosthawk appeared not as a target, but as a person-shaped question. Bridge, Emily whispered. Show me. The beta did. It didn't lock. It connected. For a heartbeat, the other jet wasn't other. It was simply different. Emily felt a thrum in her teeth. A pilot was inside that machine, alone in their chosen kind of fire. They were good. They were scared. They were listening to a voice that had never been told to speak more softly. Emily opened a channel broader than doctrine. Pilot of the unmarked craft, she said. This is Captain Emily James. You don't want this end of the story. Static. Then a laugh, too tight to love. You fly like a ghost. I hunt ghosts. You hunt paychecks, Yara muttered. Look down, Emily said. He did. She knew he did because the rifles below wavered. Men looked up when they felt their predators look down. A few stepped back. One turned his head toward the sound of a creak he hadn't noticed in 10 years. This strip was built for rainouts and crop dusters, and a boy who took apart watches because he wanted time to be kinder. Emily said, Don't make it a crater people tell lies about later. Silence. The beta floated. The rival jet held position like a held breath that knows it's being counted. Orders, the pilot said finally. I have them. So do I, Emily said. Some were written by people who will be dead longer than will be alive. Some are older than that. Here's one. Don't shoot first at a place that has already been shot at too much. Hale's voice returned low. We've got the perimeter. The uniforms at your backs are standing down. The uninvited are reconsidering their invitations. The module, Yara said. It can't stay anywhere that has an address. Then where? Emily asked. Yara's smile was a scar that had learned to sing. Where roads are still dusty enough to tell the truth. Where borders are only suggestions when it rains. Where ghosts don't have to hide to be respected. Poetry later, Hale said, but he didn't disguise the relief. Right now I need 2 answers. Emily, are you bringing Sable in? Emily looked at Yara. At the beta's skin. At the rival craft waiting for a reason to be better than it had been trained to be. At the watch that finally moved a millimeter. No, Emily said. I'm escorting her out. The line went so quiet she could hear the tower on some other frequency clear its throat. Second answer, Hale said at last. What should I tell them this jet is when they ask? Because they will. They are. Emily looked down at the dusty road that had decided to be a runway tonight. She looked at her empty wallet sitting under the console, holding nothing and everything that mattered. She looked at her broken watch and the second hand that had climbed one small mark because the world had given it room. Tell them it's still the Ghosthawk, she said. But tell them the ghost is the promise we keep. Not the threat we whisper. The rival pilot's voice came back changed. Copy that, Captain. I never wanted a crater. Then go home, Emily said. I don't have one, he replied. She thought of the dusty road. It knew her name. It might learn his. Follow at distance, she said. We'll find you somewhere you don't have to aim at people to be paid. Yara chuckled. You just unionized a dogfight, Emily breathed. The beta breathed with her. Headlights turned away. Engines silenced themselves the honest way. The night didn't grow quiet. It grew full. Hale exhaled in her ear. It sounded like a man who had put down a glass he didn't realize he'd been holding above tile. You'll be burned for this. I've been broke before, she said, touching the wallet. I'm good at it. You'll need a road that doesn't end, he said. I brought one, she said, and the beta rose slow as dawn over a town that always hoped for more. They climbed. The rival jet kept its distance like a wolf that had remembered how to be a dog. Below, the strip shrank until it was a line drawn by a hand that refused rulers. Beyond it, roads braided, some paved, some dirt, all going. All capable of a landing if you were patient and you asked permission with your wings. Yara rested her hand on the console. Your father would be loud with pride, she said. Emily touched the watch. It didn't tick. It didn't have to. It knew. Where now? She asked. Yara pointed north. A place with no plan but a good heart. Emily banked. The beta didn't bank. It chose clouds gathered, not a storm. A threshold. She slipped inside, and on the far side, the sky opened into a kind of blue that looks like it, has been waiting all its life for a plane that knows when not to be seen. Somewhere a commander rehearsed a speech he would give to cameras about responsibility and courage, and the edges of maps somewhere. A pilot put in a resignation that had only ever been half, written somewhere a dusty road, the one from a photograph inside a wallet without money, turned slightly and found the horizon finally willing to take its hand. Emily smiled into the quiet. "Ghosthawk," she said. The jet listened. "Let's build a bridge." The beta tipped a wing, if that's even what it was, and carried them toward a place where choices don't ask your rank first. The watch on her wrist settled at 12 again, but this time it was because the day wasn't over, and up ahead, where the color of the world became the color of a promise, a new shape waited, not enemy, not friend, not yet, and it spoke her name.